Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. That is Dan Harris, and it's you, and we're talking all things baseball tonight. And I'll tell you what, this morning, we're talking all of it. There are a lot of postponements. The rain came in on the East Coast, ruined our fun little Manoah debut in Yankee Stadium, so we gotta wait for more with that. We got a couple other things ruined for the Yankees too, including a few players that will be going to the IL for quite some time, most likely. The Cubs are on a streak, and we've got home run calls with our listeners in Discord that are heating up. Dinger Dan, good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm jealous of the fact that we started a little competition yesterday in our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat, where we have a baseball podcast channel. And a couple of guys were like, hey, can we make home run calls? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And somebody said, what if the person who gets the most right can get some free leading off swag? And I was like, yeah, that makes the most sense. And then three of them hit a home run call yesterday like it was nothing. Like they're experts, and it's making me feel inadequate. But other than that, I'm doing great.
Well, we're both used to that. We're both used to being that feeling of inadequate, that's for sure. Well, my home run call got suspended yesterday, not the player, the game. So that was no fun. But yeah, it was a wacky day and night in Major League Baseball, and we'll start to break it all down. And I got to start with the Cubbies, because don't look now, but they're a half game out of first, and they're 15-7 in the month of May. And this was a team that was supposed to be selling everybody off. All the players were supposed to be gone by July. And I don't know what's going on here with the Cubs, or if it's sustainable. If you're the Cubs right now, and you're sitting here or a Cubs fan, I kind of wonder, you think, wow, if we had kept you Darvish, I wonder where we'd be right now. And I know that's kind of a crappy thing to say, but that's why I said it anyway, because it's fun. But that's where you got to start the up, because I didn't even realize the Cubs were on quite this streak. Dan, did you?
No, not particularly. I mean, I don't pay that much attention to the standings. I knew the Cubs had been playing well, but look, it's a pretty wide open division. We've talked about the Brewers a million times. The Pirates are obviously terrible. The Reds aren't looking like they're going to do anything. So it's really just the Cardinals, who, again, aren't like a super impressive team to me. They're fine, but they don't seem like someone who's going to run away, a team that's going to run away. So for me, it's hard. You've got the core four. They obviously want to stay together. That pitching, I don't see how it holds up over the rest of the season. I'm sure the front office is hoping that they tank, because that's kind of what the plan was. And if they stay, then if they had a pitcher, they could do some damage, especially with Craig Kimbrell back to form completely in that bullpen.
Yeah, everything's back to form with Kimbrell except that stupid beard where he doesn't have a mustache. What the hell is wrong with what's going on with people where they grow the beards with no mustache? I'm maybe this is the rant today, I don't know, but I saw it the other day, and I wouldn't even mention it the other day, and it just pissed me off. Why do people do that? They're like, you know what, I'm going to grow this whole beard, except right here. Except there, I don't want it on my lip. What? Well, you look ridiculous, this whole Amish beard thing, and I know you're going to say that, don't say that, because then the Amish people are going to get mad. They're not watching, they're not allowed to, so don't worry about it, we're fine. We can make comments about the Amish beard, and they're not going to get upset. We're not going to get canceled because of that, Dan. Don't worry.
It's not my favorite look either, I will admit that.
Isn't it weird?
Yes, I've never understood it. I don't
get it. No, dudes out there, nobody looks good with that look. Nobody can pull that off, I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's just not happening. All right, Tyler Glasnow pulled off another incredible performance, 11 strikeouts for him yesterday. I have to tell you, I was skeptical about him being that true horse, that ace coming into the season. He has obliterated any of those concerns I had. He has been outstanding. The guy's a strikeout monster. And with him, it was always about efficiency. He was always a guy that struggled in the minor leagues sometimes with control. You saw the lights out velocity. You saw the intimidation factor. I like the guy personally. He's just a very personable, smart young man. And you were hoping and rooting for him. But my goodness, he's been outstanding. And Adolis Garcia has been outstanding too. Struck out 3 times, but he did hit his 16th home run. The question is, Dan, when the home runs stop, what is left with Garcia? And he keeps inflating this value here because he keeps hitting home runs. But again, what gets lost in that shuffle is the 3 strikeouts. So what are your thoughts on Garcia? You're still in the sell category like me, or are you just going to hold because power is power and you're going to take it when you can get it?
Well, first, I will give a shout out to Mike Mayer, who has like an ongoing thread on Twitter about Adolis Garcia, because he just breaks what we think should be happening.
I'm encourage Mike.
I give Mike credit on the very rare occasions where he deserves it. But to me, look, I'm there's no way I'm trading for Garcia. I'm just not. And look, I just dropped I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the comment.
The comment is from Alan Marks. I'm in Amish fantasy league, and Kimbrel went 1 overall. I just had to throw that up.
That is a great comment during this podcast, which is why, again, you should show up. YouTube.com/FantasyPros MLB. When we get to 4,000 subscribers, I'm going to introduce leading off merch into FantasyPros.com/shop. Anyway, Adolis Garcia, look, the bottom line is that the league is going to adjust to him. And the thing is, he knows it, as Mike has pointed out. He knows it, and he's working on basically preemptively making those adjustments to deal with it when he starts getting more off-speed stuff. The problem is, will that work? The guy was not a huge prospect. This was unexpected. So for me, if I roster him, I'm not like trying to unload him for anything I can get. If I can sell high and somebody's buying into the fact that he's one of the leaders in home runs, then I would sell him. But do I expect the ride to end? Yeah, I do eventually. At the same time, he'll run into enough balls to hit homers and he steals some bases. But for me, I am not looking to acquire him, and I would sell high if I could. Otherwise, then I'll just ride it and take the dip in batting average that's inevitably going to come.
It will. And I'll say this too, in a head-to-head points league where the strikeouts hurt you, you really got to look to get out from there. If you're playing in Roto, that's different. You want the power, you're just going to sacrifice everything else for it. Okay, that's fair. You got him cheap. I get it. I just don't get to also how the Cardinals just keep getting rid of these young outfielders in their system, and we keep watching these guys come up there and just have mediocre results. These other guys that they've brought through, it's very weird. Rosarena and Garcia are out there rocking this year, and I don't know. It's very weird. Somebody's got to swing for that somewhere. All right, where there's ups, there's downs, and well, for the Yankees, Kluber's going to be out for 2 months now, so I hope you enjoyed that no-hitter. He should have gotten more excited about it at the time, because that might be the last time you see him for, I don't know, till August or something like that. And Luke Voigt's going back to the IL with an oblique strain, so just when you thought it was safe to go out and Luke Voigt again, it's not. You can't do it. He's going to be out for probably 6 weeks or whatever it's going to be. Lance McCullers to the IL with a shoulder, and of course we talked about the Alek Manoah debut got postponed. A little bit of a bummer. I sat down to watch it last night, and I was like, oh, no, what is this? Of course, the skies had opened up in New Jersey, so I was not surprised. He's a violent rain, as they like to say in the business. But what are your thoughts here about the Yankees? This is a big blow. You're losing a pitcher and a guy in the middle of your order here at the same time for another extended period. I don't know if the Yankees can afford this kind of a loss to the pitching staff.
Well, I mean, Kluber had turned it around. That was the difference, right? In the beginning of the season, you were like, oh man, what are they going to do? But Kluber had really started to become an effective pitcher. It's a big loss for them. Now, they obviously have Herman. I know they are calling up, I think, David Garcia to pitch in the second game today. Of course, you've got Cole. Tyone looks like he's kind of turning it around. Montgomery is starting to see results. They have a decent bullpen. So I think they're probably going to be able to get by. And they can just, they'll beat teams. I think this is really the point where when you have teams that are basically willing to absorb salary, as I'm sure the Yankees are, you will be able to plug holes. Like the Mets probably will at some point, because teams are looking to shed salary at some point. So I think they'll be okay. Voit, I mean, they've been without Voit all year, and they've been fine. And Stanton is, I think, coming back Friday now. So they'll probably be fine. But yeah, that's a grade 2 oblique strain. I mean, when you hear oblique strain, you should naturally, I think the average is 30 days. With a grade 2, you're right. I think it's probably going to be 6 weeks. It's a big loss. But I think they'll just have enough, man. With Stanton coming back, they're going to be fine. I see them kind of powering through both of these injuries.
It's going to be a competitive race. That's the trick. You can't fall too far behind. And, I don't know where Severino's at right now. Now, I don't know who put this in the show sheet, but I love this. Tim Elko, is this you, Dan Harris? Did you put this in, or is this Mike Mayer?
It's Mayer. Mayer asked, he's like, can I add some stuff to the sheet?
I like this. Sure. This is tough guys. Joe's tough guys. I like this. Tim Elko of Ole Miss baseball, not even a professional baseball player, guy playing college baseball for Ole Miss, tore his ACL April 5th. He returned in May, had 3 homers and 7 RBI with the torn ACL. Tim Elko, ladies and gentlemen, slow clap for Timmy. Yeah. That's a man right there. It's a tough guy.
He's not leaving with cramps, I'm sure. I'm sure he's
not leaving with cramps. Well, and Kevin Pillar, I think, is now the face of the Joe's tough guys, so
that's
to speak.
My guy.
No pun intended, but he's definitely the face of this crew, this group. All right, let's get to some more standouts too. Miguel Sano, another home run. I still want to get rid of him. I don't care what anybody tells me. 6 home runs his last 13 games. Awesome. You waited long enough. You got something out of it. Get out of it now. Rafael Devers, dark horse for MVP. Should we be talking about him in this American League MVP? He's right at the top of all the categories.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard for me to think of anybody as MVP right now other than Shohei Ohtani, just because of how
Devers
preposterous
has
it is. Right?
43 RBI and it's May 27th.
Devers is a fantastic baseball player. Part of the problem again with the Red Sox are surprising. Problem is they have a lot of guys having really good seasons. You've obviously got JD Martinez, who, okay, I buy the video talk from last year as like, I need my video, otherwise I can't hit, because he looks right back to basically what he used to be. Xander Bogaerts is having a fantastic season. Devers will be in the conversation, an amazing player, but it's sort of like they have so many amazing players that I'm not sure he quote unquote stands out enough. But yeah, against the lefty too, just monstrous. Love it.
Austin Riley, and only Austin Riley.
My boy.
1 for 3 with another home run, 7 home runs in the last 17 games. And Michael Pineda, 8 Ks against the Orioles. This was a guy that you were speculating on. I wanted no part, and good on you. 2.62 ERA. The WHIP, is under 1.
Yep.
Incredible for him. Taylor Ward, 3 for 4 with a monstrous home run, 5 ribbies. We talked about Glasnow already with his 11 Ks against the Royals. His ERA is at 2.57. Carlos Rodon took a loss, and he can only give up 1 run and 10 Ks against the Cardinals there. His ERA is 1.29. Carlos Rodon, so good. And this is why you got to listen to the shows here, and this is why you subscribe, because we were so on this talking about Carlos Rodon for the last 3 weeks of spring training, saying it doesn't cost you anything to find out. Get in on this, take the cheap shares, find out if it's good, ride it as long as you can, and if you did, imagine how far ahead you are in certain leagues because of that bonus free square that was Carlos Rodon. We also talked about Aaron Nola being, Aaron Nola up and down. 6 innings, 1 run, 6 Ks versus the Marlins, back on track. I told you, this is Aaron Nola. He's going to have this weird 2 or 3 starts where it's not good, and then he self-corrects. Trevor Bauer struggled a little bit early on, not vintage Trevor Bauer. That's okay. I'm not really worried about that. Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa, by the way, going yard in that game. And Altuve had a 17-game hit streak broken up 2 days ago, so I didn't even realize he was on that kind of a tear.
Yeah,
Chris Paddock, another 1 earned run in that start. Only 2 strikeouts, but he's pitching better. So I guess here's the question. Are you worried that he's not getting the Ks, or are you just happy that he's having 6-inning starts?
Can I say both? I'm glad.
You can be worried and happy at the same time. That seems that seems like Dan's MO, actually.
It is, basically. That's my life's
That's your
motto,
happy place.
for sure. Happy but worried. I think that this is, of course, encouraging from Paddock, what we've seen from him generally speaking lately. His stuff is a little better, but the fact that he's not getting many whiffs at all with the fastball in particular, I mean, the spin rate is up. That's certainly encouraging, so it's great. It is against the Brewers. So where I have him ranked now, I think is probably lower than I had him coming in. He's 43rd on my starting pitcher rankings and moving up slightly, but without the Ks, he's not enough of a pitcher. Again, we talked about a couple of guys like Kyle Hendricks. You live without the Ks for the most part with Kyle Hendricks because you feel pretty confident, other than we've seen some this year, that you're going to get very solid ERA, very solid WHIP. Not sure you feel the same right now with Paddock. That said, I am encouraged, but I'm not like, oh, he's back, he's ready to go. The lack of whiffs is a little concerning. So kind of in between right there, but encouraged, but not really fully buying into just yet.
All right, let's get to some of the questions here. I got a lot of questions yesterday on Twitter about Christian Javier because getting bumped to the bullpen and stuff. Look, here's one right here. Are we dropping Javier for Framber Valdez? Now, if you want to drop him straight for Framber, that's different.
Yep.
But I'm getting a lot of questions. That's okay. I'm getting a lot of questions. Do I just drop him? No. He's a good young arm. And Jake Odorizzi's arm could fall off at any time. I mean, I don't care. He's coming back. Great, whatever. You hold on to these guys because at some point he's going to get back in there. And you had to know Christian Javier was going to get some starts, probably get moved to the bullpen, maybe come back later on. I don't want to let go of quality arms on my team if I can avoid it. Now, if you're in a pinch, I get it, Dan. But this is just something, like I said, a ton of questions yesterday about Javier. That's my standpoint. I just don't want to let guys like that back into the pool unless there's somebody really great to pick up or a difference maker guy, because quality arms are hard to find. And eventually I do think he'll find his way somehow via injury or something else back into this rotation. I mean, look, McCullers just went on the IL, for God's sakes. Why would you drop him? I don't understand.
No, I agree. I may be misreading this entire situation. I don't think this is a planned long-term move. I think this is sort of a mini way to get him a little bit of a break because you mentioned it. They're concerned about the innings, and you have two pitchers who are both coming back this weekend in Framber Valdez and Jake Odorizzi. So I don't think this is a, hey, you know what? This guy, whatever, we think he's more effective in the bullpen. Because if you watch him pitch, he's not. Like, for the most part, he's been an excellent starter. You don't want to take him out of your rotation. I really think this is something we have to get this guy a break. It's either a phantom IL stint, or we can put him in a place where we're dying a little bit. They're dealing with injuries and ineffectiveness in that bullpen. Even last night, I mean, Presley, which I don't know if they knew that going in, but he was unavailable because he had a stiff neck. So he didn't even close out the game. Abreu did. So I think they need some help in the bullpen desperately. They need to build in a break for him. They've got two guys returning, even with McCullers going on the IL. So
and
the way I view this,
all that stuff, you're right.
The way I view this, it's a short-term move. I'm not dropping him if I can. Now, you nailed it, Joe. If you're saying, like, do I drop him and he's the guy I can drop for Framber Valdez? Yes, I would do that.
That I'm okay with. Framber Valdez was a quality start machine last year.
That's what I'm saying. I prefer him.
I'll even put a step further too. I just look. Javier, I think all of a sudden becomes the number one trade target in every league right now because whoever has him is panicking a little bit. They're a little frustrated about it, and I would be all over. Go get him. Go get him.
You know what I've noticed this year, by the way, Joe? I don't know if you've noticed this. It seems like a lot of players are getting injured. Have you noticed that? I don't know if you've seen that. There's a couple players. It's weird.
Really?
There are a few more players getting injured this year. And so that fantasy managers are not sitting there with a million open bench spots, right? They are just trying to field a full lineup unless they've got unlimited IL slots. So the idea of holding on to a guy who has been moved to the bullpen who you can't really start, it's not going to get you saves, not going to do anything. It's going to be tough for those managers. So if I think he's probably going to be on the waiver wire at some point. So if you wanted to sneak in there, buy really low, I would do that because I do expect him to rejoin the rotation pretty soon.
All right, here's another good one. Daniel says he traded away Buxton and Framber Valdez for Jose Ramirez and Amir Garrett. How did I do? I think he did pretty well. I mean, Jose Ramirez is the best player in this deal, as great as Buxton's been. Jose Ramirez is a first-round talent. So I don't like the whole did I win the trade. Everybody should win the trade, which I know is going to shock people when I say that. That's the secret of making a trade, is it helps everybody. That way you make a trade partner in your league, so when you need to make a trade, you can make a trade. It's not trying to fleece everybody. Everybody's not stupid in your league. So, that being said, I always like getting the best player in the deal, and I think that he did in this one. Do you agree?
He definitely got the best player in the deal. I really like the side that gets the best player in the deal necessarily just because of that. However, with this trade, without a doubt, you make that. Amir Garrett is completely, forget him. Doesn't even matter if he's in the trade because there is no closer in Cincinnati regardless. But it's just for Ramirez. Yeah, that's especially true because I haven't talked about it. Buxton had a little bit of a setback. He was unable to run at full speed. And this is a guy who, again, we talked about a million times, which was we love the talent. It's impossible for him to stay healthy at this point. So it's something where, especially with the injury concerns, I would absolutely do the move. But even if he were on the verge of coming back, I'd still do it because Ramirez is in that caliber of first round talent that unless you're depleting your roster, you go and get.
I'm a little worried with Franmil out. A little bit of that line of protection's gone for him, but still Jose Ramirez. I'm still taking that every single day. Here's one more, and then we'll get back to some DFS for tonight. Jerry says, "Good morning, guys. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
I've got a proposed trade given to me. My friend is sending Story and Glass now for Gleyber, Torres, and Trout. My outfield depth is pretty good. Pull the trigger. If you're getting Story and Glass now for Trout, who's sitting on the IL for 2 months, and it's not a keeper league, yeah." Go do this. Absolutely. You're getting a true ace and Story, who's only got better baseball ahead of him. Yeah, you're giving up Trout, but if your outfield depth is good, yeah, pull the trigger, right, Dan? Why wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in just your head, it's I can't give away Mike Trout. I mean, it's whatever
it's
just
a man.
Was it 6 to 8 weeks? And again, when you hear him describe what that injury felt like, that is not I'm sure he'll be fine with his calf strain. He'll just run a little bit. He'll get back on the early side. No, I'm taking the full 2 months. That's a long time without a guy. And you've got one of the best pitchers in baseball, one of the best hitters in baseball, even though he's not off to a great start right now. It's a no-brainer for me.
All right, real quick, some of the injury front stuff. We already talked about the Yankees. Jordan Alvarez was scratched with wrist soreness Wednesday. Yeah. Marcell Ozuna is going to miss 6 weeks, which just sucks with the fingers thing. Framber Valdez, we mentioned, is going to be starting Friday. That's great. A lot of people remember one that came out where he broke a pinky. oh, he might not pitch again.
God,
What? How did that happen?
Yeah.
How did we go from that to that? Jake Odorizzi is supposed to start Saturday. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know how this is happening. I'm telling you right now, this is the guy where I'm like, well, between McCullers IL and Jake Odorizzi coming back after the tendon flex or strain, forget it. Brandon Belt goes on the IL finally with that oblique that's been bothering him for weeks. Luis Arraez goes to the IL with a shoulder strain. And Zach Plesac, Mr. Thumpkin himself, won't need surgery after all, so that's good. So hopefully he won't aggressively remove his hospital gown anytime
That's
soon.
true. Be careful.
That's where you go. All right, let's talk a little MLB DFS. But before we do, I want to remind everybody the sponsor of the show is Manscaped, and the Lawnmower 4.0 is out there and available for you. And look, take a good look at yourself. Are you a hairy animal? Are you? Then take care of it with the Lawnmower 4.0, okay? You don't have to live this way. Please, this is an intervention for all of you that have body hair that's out of control. You know who you are. I don't have to single you out. And if you have one of those weird Amish beards, it can help you kind of trim that too. And that way you get like clean shaven up on the lip and a whole lot of fuzz under the chin, because obviously that's the look Craig Kimbrell thinks is cool. But we know what's really cool, and that's the Lawnmower 4.0 because of the advanced skin-safe technology, the 4K LED light, the longer-lasting battery, the new guard lengths 1 through 4. The Lawnmower 3.0, I know, it's only got the 2 guard lengths. This one's got 4, so you can, rock the fade, do whatever you're doing, and I'm telling you right now, you can get it at manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping with that code leading off. Again, it's leading off, manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. Your balls, well, thank you. And I want to see everybody tomorrow show up for the show, all the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks with the Amish beards. And maybe that's a bet too. Maybe if I lose a bet, I'll just shave this for one day and just come in with the Amish. It's terrifying. Yeah, it's a horrible, terrifying. You look ridiculous. Anyway, only 6 games on the slate today, so just going to keep it simple here tonight. Got a lot of day games, a lot of makeup stuff going on. The good chalk is the White Sox. Dylan Cease is very cheap. He's 7.5 against the Orioles. Cease has pitched very well. I would go in on this. I would stack with the White Sox. You got Strasburg at 10, Ohtani at 10.3 on FanDuel, and then Alex Wood at 9.8, but he's going against a good team. So I don't know where you want to land tonight. If you want to go with Bassett against Ohtani, go a little Oppo. There's nothing wrong with that. I think Texas and Seattle is kind of where you're going for some cheap offense potentially as well. Yeah. Looks like a high total in that game. But what are your thoughts when you look at the pitching landscape today?
I think probably Cease. I'm just again. You mentioned it. It is not a great slate, but got to watch out for the rain in that one. But I do think I like Cease just because again, Wood is really the only one who I want to go with. I never go with Ohtani. I just don't. I just it's something where he probably deserves it, but I have no idea what I'm going to get from him on any given night when he's on the mound. So Wood would probably be the guy. But again, you mentioned it. It's against the Dodgers. It's not something I want to go on. I think Cease has the potential to have a really nice start here against Baltimore. Wind is supposedly blowing in, as Mike knows. I like to note. So I would go with Cease. I take the discount on FanDuel, again, as you mentioned, at 7.5K.
All right. Dylan Cease, by the way, you talk about variance. Very cheap on FanDuel, but on DK, he's 9.2.
Yes.
Strasburg is cheaper than Sonny Gray on DK. Strasburg's 8.5. Gray is 9.7. And then you got Alex Wood at just 6.9. So as a secondary arm, I'm in on Alex Wood on DK at the very least. I kind of like him and Bassett, actually. I think that's an interesting pairing on DK that allows you to kind of do whatever you want offensively. But just keep a close eye because a lot of the day games or makeup things or replaying suspended games first. There's going to be like weird guys in and out of lineups. So it's one of those nights if you want to just stay away from it altogether, that's perfectly fine as well. So let's get it out there. I know, like Dan was saying, if you want to get in on this little contest, make sure you go over to Discord and make sure you join our channel at Fantasy Pros, and we're going to have some leading off swag. And if you want to make some home run calls of your own and get involved with us, you can do that. Once again, go to Discord and just look for that Fantasy Pros channel and join us in there. Mike's in there all the time. God bless Mike and Brendan because they do such a good job here helping us out with the show and answering all your questions too. And Dan and I do our best on Twitter. I know we do pretty well, but it's great that it's like a team here and we're all a team together and you're part of this team. So Dan, that being said, who are you going with your home run call for tonight?
Again, it's not a huge slate. By the way, we should say I was teasing Mike. Do we limit the home run calls to just the main slate, Joe, that we talk about, or are you our friend? Right, exactly.
Main
so
slate.
I'm just putting that out.
Rules here.
You and I do exactly. Yeah, there's Mike. He knows because Mike picked Miguel Sano and hit it, even though it was a day game yesterday. I'm going to let
All
it go on this one.
We'll let it go for that first time because he does a lot of work, and he made the Joe's tough guys thing, which
That's
I like.
true.
I
It's a
want to
good
see
job
more
by
of
him.
that. So that one, we'll let it go.
Okay.
But after
from
today,
now on,
that's it.
Limited to the main slate.
Yeah, come on.
Bastards.
There's rules.
Okay.
Here.
Anyway, so there aren't that many great choices. I think you do probably, if the game gets played, want to think about the White Sox. But I'm going to the Cardinals game against Matthew Peacock. I'm going to go with my guy Nolan Arenado to go deep tonight.
Very nice. I'm going to go with Tim Anderson tonight.
Yep.
Just because I always like Orioles pitchers on the other side. They give up lots of home runs. So I'm going to go with I've too much Abreu lately. I'm going to change it up.
I want another White Sox. I thought you'd be Abreu, Joe.
I did watch. Now tonight he'll go and hit a home run. You watch.
I love it.
But I'm going to go with Tim Anderson instead. Tim Anderson's fun. I like him. I like the swagger guys. I like the guys that play with a little bit of flair and intensity. I grew up with the 86 Mets, who were the most obnoxious team in baseball history. They used to do curtain calls in other people's stadiums. They would do curtain calls when they would do good things. And that's hilarious to me. I think that's great. Embrace being the bad guy. I think that's the case. What are your thoughts here on some of these injuries, though, too? Because, I mean, before we close things out here, it is very difficult, and we've said, we're constantly looking for replacement value and all of that stuff. Do you think that we are in a place where healthiest team, maybe not even best team, is the team that wins a lot of leagues this year?
I mean, I think there's going to probably be some component of that, yes. But what I really think, Joe, is I think it's going to be much more about being there. Like a Seinfeld, like we're just going to be there. Find people who are going to play. Get at bats in your lineup, because what I really think, Joe, is in the end, it's going to be the teams, especially offensively, and even with pitching, who have the most innings, who are able to fill their lineups effectively and don't just kind of let go. And you have to be probably proactive. Like when you have I don't know if this guy's going to start, go with the safer guy and just get a body in that lineup, because I don't know if it's going to be the healthier teams, but I think volume is going to win a lot more than just talent, if that makes sense.
I think you also look at the trends to things that have gone negative. It's baseball. It's a game of streaks. It's going to turn around. Like the Twins that have been bad, that's going to turn around a little bit. As good as the Cubs have played, it's probably going to come back to things that you go in and go, this doesn't look right. Start to buy and sell it depending on how it looks. And I think that's also the key now to being successful the rest of the year, because whether it be a specific player or specific team, chances are it's going to come back to where you thought it was going to be in the regular season anyway when you headed into the year. Teams you thought were going to be bad, players you thought had no chance, all of that. I think you start evaluating that because 2 months into a season, you have a lot more to go on to evaluate. And I think you start taking some shots. This is where in June you start taking some shots on some guys and you start to acquire them, and you see like Eugenio Suarez turning things around. Yes, that's going to happen eventually. I
think this is a year more than any other year to take the chance in the trade. And we look, the guy, it's not like, anything special. The fact that we were preaching, go buy low on Kyle Tucker, because there are certain things people are like, I haven't seen anything that makes me excited about him. That's fine.
Do you remember Devers the first 2 weeks of the season, who was terrible?
Yeah, but I don't.
And people are like, "Oh man, Devers is killing me, man." Like, what's your problem? Rafael Devers is killing you for 2 weeks. Don't worry about it; it'll be fine. Now he's leading the league in RBI.
I'm not running out there right now telling people like go trade for Luis Castillo. I'm not, and I've dropped him a lot in the trade chart, which will drop today if it hasn't already. But I do think that buying low on a guy like Luis Castillo, taking that sort of chance, is the type of thing that is probably going to win fantasy managers their league. So look for buy low candidates, take your shots. It might not work out, but be aggressive this year more than any other year.
Yeah, I'm with Dan. Aggressive is good in fantasy baseball right now, and take your shots because if you can get good talent, you take it, you roll with it, and this is most important too, keep getting those best players in the deals, because those are the guys that are going to make the difference makers. Those are the guys that are going to pull you up, and you can find replacement value in other guys on the waiver wire because injuries are abundant, and there's going to be a lot more guys out there and available. So once again, go out there, go get your lawnmower 4.0 over at Manscaped with that hot foil black chrome stamp logo, hotness, awesomeness, and make sure you head over to FantasyPros.com/MLB contest to get that Vladdy Guerrero Jr. autographed baseball. We only have a couple of days left of that, so this is it. All you got to do, leave that review over on Apple Podcasts or CastBox. You screenshot it, go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. You upload that screenshot of your review, and obviously fill out the form, and you're entered to win the Vladdy Ball and anything else thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction. How are we doing with all that? By the way, this is the end of the month where we like to make that push for reviews and also subscriptions too. We're getting closer to the 4K over on our YouTube channel at Fantasy Pros MLB. When we get to 4K, we get leading off swag. Come on, everybody, get with it.
That's true. We are closing in on 4,000 subscribers to the channel that we launched just at the start of the season. So that is great. Again, youtube.com/FantasyProsMLB. Just click the subscribe button. Costs you nothing. Helps us out when you do. The reviews are still coming in. We've got probably 1,060 maybe. And again, we had basically less than 1,000 coming in. So before last month. So yeah, keep them coming. Again, it really supports the show. Like, enter the contest. You can win the Vladdy Ball. You can be entered no matter what. Remember, one entry to one contest, entry into all future contests, and the next contest you will enjoy. I know what the item is, I promise. But if you do it, it also just helps us out. Easy way to support the show. Doesn't cost you anything. Takes 2 minutes. So go ahead, leave a review either on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
There you go. All right, that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Dan Harris, I'm Joe Pisapia. We'll see you next time, kids.